Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. WWE has a wealth of legends. Some are signed to Legends contracts, while others are now doing their own thing. One Hall of Famer and legend who is regularly in the news is Rikishi. The former Intercontinental Champion had a long and historic career, but he is now perhaps best known to some fans for being a podcaster and industry analyst. Beyond those accomplishments, his influence on the industry is also felt thanks to his family. He is part of the real-life bloodline, but even more directly, the 59-year-old has 3 sons in WWE in Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Solo Sikoa. Thanks to his affiliation there, many wonder when he'll be inserted into the ongoing saga. This article will take a look at a handful of different ways that the former Intercontinental Champion could end up involved with the storyline. This could include introducing a new name to the company or even choosing sides between his sons. Below are 4 ways WWE can introduce Rikishi to the Bloodline storyline. 4. He could replace Paul Heyman as the Wiseman of the OG Bloodline. The OG Bloodline was started by Roman Reigns back in 2020. Over time, WWE stars such as Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Sami Zayn, and Solo Sikoa joined the original tribal chief. Paul Heyman served as the Wiseman. After Solo Sikoa took over the group, Roman Reigns is seemingly reforming the original version. Jimmy Uso is already by his side on WWE SmackDown, and Jey Uso seems close to joining them both. However, Paul Heyman might never return after being viciously attacked by Solo Sikoa's stable this past June. Roman recently discussed the need for a Wiseman, and with Heyman away, this could be how Rikishi fits in. He could join Jimmy and Jey, along with his nephew Roman, and guide them against the dangerous group led by Sikoa. 3. Rikishi could become Solo Sikoa's Wiseman. Solo Sikoa was once a member of the original Bloodline, but once Roman Reigns lost the undisputed WWE Universal Championship and disappeared, changes were made. Sikoa took over the faction and ousted Jimmy Uso before adding new members to it. Today, Solo is joined by 3 other stars. This includes the dominant and scary Jacob Fatu, plus the WWE Tag Team Champions, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. They ejected Paul Heyman, meaning they don't currently have a Wiseman. Just as in the previous entry, this could be where Rikishi fits in. Instead of choosing the Usos, the Samoan legend could choose his younger son in Solo. The former IC champion could offer guidance to the Bloodline in the hopes of them defeating the OG version and thus allow them to gain complete control moving forward. 2. He could introduce Zilla Fatu to WWE. Zilla Fatu is a real-life member of the Bloodline, but he isn't signed to WWE. Instead, he is relatively new and on the independent scene. The 25-year-old was trained by Booker T, who was trying to guide Zilla and bring him to the Promised Land. Fatu is the son of the late great Umaga, so he has a strong heritage in the industry. Provided that the young performer doesn't get in his own way, it seems inevitable that he'll be WWE bound. Rikishi could be the missing link in getting Zilla to the Stamford-based company. Either on NXT or the main roster, Rikishi could serve as Zilla's manager both on screen and behind the scenes. He could guide the generational star and help him gain valuable experience on the road. 1. Rikishi could start his own Bloodline. The final entry on this list is related to the prior one, but with a much bigger twist. Instead of Rikishi simply managing Zilla Fatu and bringing him to WWE, the former Intercontinental Champion could launch a 3rd version of the Bloodline. As is expected, Rikishi would serve as the Wiseman of the stable. Zilla Fatu would likely be the prodigy, the one who could assume the position of the tribal chief. However, there are a few other performers that the veteran could recruit. Hikuleo, the younger brother of Tama Tonga, has been signed by the sports entertainment juggernaut but has yet to debut. The 6'8" giant could be the muscle of the group. Meanwhile, someone like Lance Anoa'i or even Sean Maluta could be signed from the indie circuit to help fill out the ranks. From there, if the group has chemistry, Rikishi could bring them up to SmackDown and insert them into the ongoing Bloodline saga. Here's a storyline concept for how Rikishi could step in as a new Wiseman, taking the reins of Paul Heyman's role while reshaping the dynamics within the Bloodline through Solo Sikoa's rising influence. 1. Paul Heyman's abrupt departure and Rikishi's entrance. The SmackDown universe opens with an unexpected announcement: Paul Heyman is nowhere to be seen. Roman Reigns appears, clearly disturbed, alongside Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso. A message appears on the screen, revealing Heyman has stepped down for undisclosed personal reasons. This announcement leaves the Bloodline disoriented, with Reigns visibly irate. Roman's frustration explodes as he accuses Heyman of abandoning the family at a critical juncture. As tensions escalate, Solo, usually silent, speaks up for the first time. He mentions there is someone who can fill Heyman's shoes, a person who has the family's best interests at heart. The arena goes dark, and a familiar face, Rikishi, appears on the Titantron, stating, "Blood is thicker than any alliance, Roman." Rikishi's words resonate through the crowd, setting a powerful foundation for his new role as the stable's strategist. 2. Rikishi as the mastermind behind Solo's stable. Over the next few weeks, Rikishi's influence grows, especially over Solo Sikoa. Rikishi acknowledges Reigns' contributions, but he emphasizes that the next phase of the Bloodline belongs to a newer generation. This generation, he states, will be led by the silent powerhouse, Solo. While Reigns might be the established head, Rikishi suggests the time is ripe for Solo to take control of a faction within the Bloodline, allowing him to operate independently. With Rikishi as Solo's mentor, a faction within the Bloodline begins to form. Solo, joined by rising stars Rikishi scouts from NXT, trains under Rikishi's guidance to embody loyalty, tenacity, and a willingness to do what's necessary for family. This new substable challenges the established order within the Bloodline, making it clear that they respect Roman but have a unique path to follow. 3. Rikishi's historical connection and wisdom. Rikishi's value comes from his deep connection to the family's history and legacy. He has seen the rise and fall of greats, including his own sons, the Usos. Rikishi shares lessons about family loyalty, the sacrifices he made, and the importance of respecting the Bloodline's values. This insight creates an unbreakable bond between him and Solo, who becomes increasingly inclined to take his guidance. Roman's authority is questioned, as Rikishi shares family stories that subtly critique Reigns' leadership approach. He warns of the downfall of those who forget where they come from, a not-so-subtle dig at Reigns' tendency to put his ambition above family values. Rikishi's old-school wisdom resonates with the fans and Solo, making him a natural successor to Heyman's place as the family's Wiseman, though one with a personal, family-focused twist. 4. A power struggle with Roman Reigns. Rikishi's role intensifies as he subtly begins redirecting Solo's loyalty from Roman to himself. In an explosive segment, Roman confronts Rikishi, questioning his motives and loyalty. Rikishi counters, declaring that he's here to save the Bloodline from being torn apart by Roman's ego. This leads to a showdown between Reigns and Solo, where Solo, under Rikishi's influence, steps up to his cousin, showing for the first time that he's no longer merely Reigns' enforcer but a contender for power. Rikishi encourages Solo to embrace his potential fully, even suggesting that Solo challenge Roman's authority if he continues to put his interests before the family. Solo, with newfound confidence, begins leading his faction more openly, establishing a faction of loyalists who rally behind him. This shift fractures the Bloodline, creating a power struggle where Rikishi and Roman battle for control over the family's legacy. Through these 4 developments, Rikishi's entry reshapes the Bloodline storyline, challenging Roman's position and empowering Solo Sikoa to forge a path as an emerging leader. With Rikishi's wisdom and influence, the storyline reaches new dramatic heights, exploring family loyalty, legacy, and the strength of a bloodline forged by resilience and respect. The Bloodline has caused problems for a lot of top names in WWE in the last few months, including Paul Heyman and Jey Uso. The heel faction ended up costing Jey the Intercontinental Championship on Raw this week. However, a more shocking thing happened after the show as faction member Tama Tonga shared an update from the Wisemen. Jey Uso defended the Intercontinental Championship against Braun Breaker on Raw this past Monday. However, the Bloodline made its presence felt during the match on the Red brand after an exchange of words between the Heyman&Solo Sikoa on SmackDown. While it initially looked like the heel faction was trying to help Jey, Jacob Fatu eventually put the former champion through a table, allowing Breaker to pick up the win. Paul Heyman shared the incident on his Instagram story while promoting his website. However, the biggest surprise came when Tama Tonga reshared the Wiseman story. After all, it was the Bloodline who put the Hall of Famer on the shelf after he refused to acknowledge Solo Sikoa as his tribal chief. Jey Uso and Paul Heyman can soon reunite in WWE. The OG Bloodline consisted of Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Paul Heyman. However, the group has not been together since Night of Champions 2023 when Jey and Jimmy turned on the OTC. While Jimmy eventually returned to the heel faction, Jey distanced himself from the family and moved over to Raw. However, with Solo Sikoa taking charge of the group and bringing new members, the reunion of the OG Bloodline looks inevitable. Jimmy Uso returned at WWE Bad Blood to join forces with Roman Reigns, and it is only a matter of time before Paul Heyman unites with them. While Jey Uso has so far refused to help his twin brother in Reigns, Solo Sikoa and company costing him the Intercontinental Championship could be the final straw for him. The Yeatman is not the one to rest on his laurels and will be looking for revenge against the SmackDown faction. However, he will have to switch brands as he is currently a part of Raw. Aside from Jey Uso, Sami Zayn was also an integral part of the Bloodline during the faction's peak. The former NXT champion is also speculated to reunite with his former stablemates. The tension was palpable as WWE fans anxiously awaited the fallout from Jey Uso's heartbreaking loss on WWE Raw. It wasn't just another match, it was a statement. And one that had been orchestrated, in the shadows as always, by none other than Paul Heyman. But it wasn't the wise man himself who delivered the latest developments. Instead, a Bloodline member took to the stage, intent on addressing the WWE Universe, and in doing so, shared a chilling message from Heyman. On this particular night, it was Solo Sikoa, the silent enforcer of the Bloodline, who was chosen to communicate on Heyman's behalf. A hush fell over the crowd as Solo, dressed in his signature black hoodie and a Bloodline t-shirt, stepped into the ring. His stern expression conveyed a message that words could barely capture. Flanked by Roman Reigns' ever-present red lei, Solo lifted a mic, his cold gaze sweeping across the arena. The crowd knew that whatever Solo had to say was bound to rattle the foundations of WWE, and that this would only be the beginning of the mind games. So you all thought Jey Uso was finally free, huh? Solo's voice, deep and rough, echoed through the arena. You thought he was really out of the Bloodline? You thought he was done with the family? The audience erupted in a mixture of boos and cheers, but Solo seemed unperturbed, his gaze never wavering. He continued in his low, menacing tone. Paul Heyman has a message, Solo announced, raising his hand in the familiar Bloodline salute. And that message is this: Jey Uso is nothing without us. He's a pawn that was given an illusion of freedom. But freedom? Nah. There's no escaping the Bloodline, no escaping family. Not for Jey. Not for anyone. The arena went quiet as Solo delivered the words with a weight that felt unbreakable, as if those watching could feel the chains of the Bloodline locking around Jey once more. Heyman said it's not about keeping Jey from winning, Solo explained, a dark grin tugging at the corners of his mouth. It's about reminding him who he belongs to. Who made him, who gave him this power, who made him feel like main event Jey to begin with. Then, without warning, Solo gestured to the massive screen behind him, where an image of Paul Heyman appeared. He looked sharp as always, though the smirk on his face was more pronounced than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, Heyman began, his voice oozing with the signature condescension he saved for moments like these. My name is Paul Heyman, and I'm here to remind you all. Jey Uso's fate was never in his hands. He may have been convinced he was free, but freedom isn't a concept we permit in the bloodline. It's all part of the family business. A family that stretches beyond the WWE ring, beyond the fans, beyond Jey's imagination. Solo watched, arms crossed, as Heyman's image on the screen continued, each word dripping with calculated malice. Jey's loss tonight was a gift, a reminder of his place. We don't just let people walk away, Heyman continued, a gleam in his eyes that was all too unsettling. We have plans, goals, and paths designed for every member of the bloodline. We are an empire, and Jey? He's only a part of a greater design. The screen cut back to Solo, who took a step forward. His next words were even more chilling, as he shared Heyman's intended consequences for Jey. So here's what's next for Jey, straight from the mouth of Paul Heyman, Solo said, his voice dripping with menace. If he ever thought of retaliating or getting back at us, we'll be there. In the ring, backstage, anywhere he goes, we'll remind him that nobody leaves the bloodline. And if he resists? Solo cracked his knuckles, a smirk appearing. Then there will be a price to pay. Family first. Always. It was clear Heyman and Solo were delivering a message meant to break Jey down, a psychological cage keeping him under the bloodline's thumb. Fans in the arena sat frozen, absorbing the weight of Heyman's warning, understanding that for Jey, every breath would be monitored, every move calculated, every victory meaningless unless it served the bloodline's interests. Solo raised his fist again, the familiar signal of bloodline loyalty, and stared down the camera. This moment wasn't just about Jey's loss, it was about reminding him, and every other WWE wrestler, that the bloodline's reach was unending. But just as Solo looked ready to leave the ring, a murmur from the crowd intensified, drawing his attention. USO! USO! USO, they chanted, their voices rallying for the man who had been betrayed. For a moment, Solo seemed unfazed, but his eyes narrowed, and he spoke again. Chant his name all you want, he snarled. It doesn't change anything. He's in this for life. Blood doesn't run, blood doesn't hide, blood doesn't escape. And neither does Jey. Solo threw the microphone down with a thud that reverberated through the silent arena. He turned, stepping out of the ring, leaving behind an atmosphere thick with anticipation and dread. The crowd knew that this wasn't just a momentary power play, it was a declaration of dominance from a family unwilling to let anyone stray from their path. Backstage, Jey Uso watched on a monitor, jaw clenched and hands balled into fists. He knew, deep down, that this wasn't over, that it would never be over. The bloodline was a force that wouldn't simply let him go, wouldn't allow him to exist independently, and Solo's words only fueled a desire in Jey's heart to stand up for himself like never before. Yet, Jey also knew that Heyman's words carried a truth. He'd reached heights in WWE thanks to the bloodline, but at what cost? And what would the future hold if he continued this fight against them? Would he sacrifice everything just to free himself from the shadow of his family? As the show came to a close, a final message from Paul Heyman echoed in his mind, a twisted reminder of the stakes he now faced. This isn't just about wins or losses, Heyman had said, it's about loyalty, sacrifice, and legacy. And Jey, you will always be a part of ours. Determined yet wary, Jey knew that his next steps would define his place in the WWE. He would either rise, challenging the dynasty that sought to control him, or he would fall, entangled forever in the bloodline's web. The WWE universe was left to wonder, would Jey Uso ever find true freedom? Or was he destined to live in the shadow of the bloodline, forever haunted by Heyman's words? Rikishi seemingly drops a major tease after WWE's WrestleMania 41 announcement. Rikishi has reacted to WWE's recent announcement regarding WrestleMania 41. On Instagram, the Hall of Famer seemingly dropped a major tease related to the bloodline. WrestleMania is WWE's biggest show of the year. On social media, Triple H promoted the event by noting that tickets for the show will be on sale this coming Friday. He also shared a promotional video featuring Travis Scott's F.E.N. Taking to his Instagram story, Rikishi reacted to the WrestleMania 41 announcement using the common bloodline emojis, implying that his family might be heavily involved at the grandest stage of them all. The Bloodline storyline recently took a major twist, with Jey Uso losing the Intercontinental Championship after interference from Solo Sikoa and his faction. Jey's loss could lead to his reunion with the OG Bloodline. Roman Reigns and Jimmy recently confronted the YEET Master on an episode of SmackDown, but the former Intercontinental Champion was least interested in helping out his family. Rikishi commented on The Rock's WWE return. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes defeated Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu at the Bad Blood Premium Live event. Post-match, The Rock returned for an intense stare-down with Rhodes, Reigns, and Jimmy Uso. Anytime the final boss comes back, it's good for business. Whether you love him or hate him, the bottom line I know this is that TKO loves him. You see what I'm saying? The Rock is expected to play a major role at WrestleMania 41. After returning to the Bad Blood PLE, he hinted at a potential triple threat match between himself, Rhodes, and Reigns. The wrestling world was abuzz when WWE officially announced the location for WrestleMania 41, Los Angeles, the home of Hollywood, glitz, and glamour. As the grandest stage of them all approached, fans speculated about potential matches, surprise returns, and legendary appearances. However, one subtle tease from a Hall of Famer stole the show. Rikishi, the WWE legend and patriarch of the Bloodline, dropped a cryptic message on social media that has fans talking about a possible return to the squared circle. The WrestleMania announcement. WrestleMania 41 promises to be one of the most anticipated events in recent memory. Following WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, WWE is returning to Los Angeles, signaling a continuation of Hollywood-themed spectacles. Fans have long speculated that the LA setting could feature blockbuster matchups, celebrity involvement, and plenty of surprises from the wrestling world's most iconic names. But amidst all the glitz and glamour of the WrestleMania 41 announcement, there was an unexpected jolt of excitement when Rikishi, the former WWE Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion, posted a message that seemingly hinted at a major role in the lead-up to the event. The post was simple yet powerful: legends never die. Hollywood, here I come. Hashtag WrestleMania 41, hashtag family first, hashtag bloodline strong. A family legacy. Rikishi is no stranger to WrestleMania moments or family-based storylines. Over the last few years, WWE has been built around the Bloodline, the Samoan dynasty that has dominated the main event scene, led by Roman Reigns. The stable, which also includes Rikishi's sons the Usos, has been at the forefront of WWE programming, delivering high-quality matches and intense storylines. Rikishi's influence has always loomed large over the Bloodline, even if he has not been directly involved in recent storylines. His cryptic tease sparked instant speculation about his potential return to WWE, particularly at a time when the Bloodline's dominance seems to be unraveling. With Jey Uso's departure from SmackDown, Jimmy Uso's fractured relationship with Roman Reigns, and Solo Sikoa's growing tension with his tribal chief cousin, the entire faction seems on the brink of implosion. Could Rikishi be returning to restore order within the family? Or is he set to stand against his sons and nephew in a dramatic twist? What could Rikishi's role be? There are several ways Rikishi's return could play out, especially with WrestleMania 41 being such a massive platform. One of the most intriguing possibilities is Rikishi stepping back into the ring, either for a one-off match or a storyline that builds toward the event. While it may seem far-fetched given his age and health, WWE has shown a willingness to incorporate legends into high-stakes matches, particularly when there's a family dynamic involved. Rikishi's return could also come in the form of mentorship or management. With the Bloodline teetering on the edge of collapse, Rikishi could return as the guiding force needed to bring the family back together. This role would see him attempt to mend the fractured relationships between Roman, the Usos, and Solo Sikoa. Fans could witness emotional segments as Rikishi delivers heartfelt speeches about the importance of family, loyalty, and legacy. Alternatively, Rikishi's return could see him oppose the bloodline, aligning himself with his estranged son Jey Uso. Jey's recent departure from WWE, fueled by a desire to escape the toxicity of the bloodline, has left fans wondering if his exit is permanent. Rikishi could play a pivotal role in bringing Jey back into the fold, not as a member of the bloodline but as his own man, standing against Roman's tyranny. Building toward WrestleMania 41. As WrestleMania 41 approaches, WWE is likely to build a complex storyline that centers on the bloodline's internal struggles. Rikishi's involvement could heighten the emotional stakes, especially if the legendary star confronts his sons and Roman in dramatic fashion. Imagine a scenario where Rikishi stands in the middle of the ring, addressing his family's issues and calling out Roman for manipulating his sons and using them to maintain his grip on power. A possible match at WrestleMania 41 could involve Rikishi in a managerial or special guest enforcer role, adding an extra layer of tension. For example, a match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso could be billed as family versus family, with Rikishi torn between siding with his dominant nephew and supporting his rebellious son. Another possible angle could involve Rikishi aligning with Solo Sikoa, the youngest member of the bloodline. Over the past few months, WWE has teased Solo's dissatisfaction with Roman's leadership. Rikishi's return could fuel Solo's rebellion, with the father-son duo standing against Roman and the Usos at WrestleMania 41. The tension could culminate in a shocking moment where Rikishi helps Solo break free from Roman's control, leading to a dramatic shift in power within the family. Fan reactions and speculation. The WWE Universe wasted no time speculating about Rikishi's cryptic message. Social media lit up with fan theories, ranging from Rikishi stepping back into the ring for a match to him leading a new faction entirely separate from the bloodline. Many fans expressed excitement about the potential emotional moments that could arise from a family-focused storyline involving Rikishi, especially considering the rich history of the Samoan dynasty in WWE. Others wondered if Rikishi's return would signal the final chapter of the bloodline storyline. With WrestleMania being the stage where rivalries reach their climax, Rikishi's involvement could mark the beginning of the end for Roman Reigns' reign as tribal chief. Some fans even speculated that Rikishi's return might coincide with other Samoan legends, such as The Rock or even Umaga's son, stepping into the storyline to further complicate the family dynamic. Conclusion: while nothing is confirmed, Rikishi's tease about returning for WrestleMania 41 has fans excited about the possibilities. Whether he returns to restore order to the bloodline, oppose Roman Reigns' leadership, or even mentor a new generation of Samoan wrestlers, one thing is certain: Rikishi's presence will add an emotional and historical weight to whatever storyline WWE crafts leading into the event. As WrestleMania 41 approaches, the wrestling world will be watching closely to see if Rikishi's cryptic message was just a tease or the first step in a massive family confrontation on WWE's grandest stage. WWE Hall of Famer says Jey Uso's title loss was not a mistake. Exclusive. The WWE fanbase was shocked recently when Braun Breaker won the Intercontinental Championship back from Jey Uso. While many have criticized the booking, a Hall of Famer thinks it was done well. Despite being one of the most talented stars on the roster, Jey Uso was unable to hold onto his title against Braun Breaker. While the match may have gone either way, the interference from the bloodline made it quite one-sided as the Yeet Master faced a barrage of attacks on ringside. This led to Braun Breaker picking up the opportunity to take Jey down. Speaking on Sportskeeda's The Wrestling Time Machine, hosted by Mac Davis, Teddy Long believed the loss was booked well. He said, "I thought the match was great, and the way they took the title like it was believable. Because you take a guy, you do 3 or 4 things to him on the outside, you know what I mean? You pretty much got him tired out and beat up. So the way that they done that, Uso, he was beat up, he just couldn't take it no more. Then Breaker hits him with the big spear, and that's it." 352 onwards, the WWE veteran had one criticism regarding the match. While Teddy Long was quite impressed with how the bout panned out, he had a minor complaint about a particular segment. According to the WWE Hall of Famer, the ringside spots may have been too many. Adding to his previous comments, Long stated, "I think it protected him, didn't hurt him none whatsoever. But I thought some of the stuff that they did on the outside was just a little too. Kinda threw that out. A little bit too long. Overkill is what we say. And you know, like I said, it was good stuff, don't get me wrong, nothing wrong, but just like, oh, it went a little bit too long." 417 onwards. For now, it remains to be seen how Jey Uso will be booked going forward in WWE. In a shocking turn of events that left WWE fans worldwide in disbelief, Jey Uso fell short in his quest to dethrone Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at SummerSlam. The conclusion of the tribal combat match saw Jey Uso betrayed by his own brother Jimmy, effectively ending any hope of the former's title dreams. This development sent shockwaves through the WWE universe, with many questioning whether Jey Uso's defeat was a misstep in his career trajectory. But according to one WWE Hall of Famer, it wasn't a mistake at all. In an exclusive interview, legendary Hall of Famer Rikishi, the father of both Jey and Jimmy Uso, broke his silence on the controversial finish. His words were not only surprising but also hinted at a deeper plan in play, one that many fans might not have anticipated. Jey Uso's loss was necessary, says Rikishi. Sitting down for an in-depth interview, Rikishi reflected on the SummerSlam match and its fallout. With his sons now on opposite sides of an escalating family war, many assumed that Rikishi might be heartbroken by Jimmy's betrayal or Jey's failed title bid. However, the legendary Samoan grappler offered a more nuanced perspective. This loss for Jey, it wasn't a mistake. It was necessary, Rikishi stated firmly. Sometimes in this business, the fans only see what's happening in the moment. They see their favorite guy, Jey, come so close to winning, and they think that's the only goal. But it's bigger than that. Jey's story doesn't end with that title shot. It's just beginning. Rikishi, a veteran of WWE's famed Attitude Era and a key figure in the lineage of the Samoan wrestling dynasty, explained that the WWE universe often overlooks the importance of long-term storytelling. While Jey Uso losing to Roman Reigns might have been heartbreaking, especially after months of building up to the moment, Rikishi believes it set the stage for something much greater. Jey had to go through that pain, that heartbreak. It's part of his growth, he continued. You can't just step into greatness by winning a match. Sometimes you have to lose everything first. That's how you find out who you are. A family divided, but not destroyed. Rikishi's insight was particularly intriguing when it came to the dynamic between Jey and Jimmy. Since Jimmy's shocking betrayal, many fans have speculated about the real-life tension between the brothers, wondering if the family has been irrevocably torn apart. But Rikishi, a man who understands the complexities of family more than most, was quick to clarify that the story is far from over. I've known my boys their whole lives, Rikishi said with a smile. And if there's one thing I know, it's that blood is thicker than anything. Right now, it might seem like Jimmy has turned his back on Jey, but there's more to it than that. They've got to go through their struggles. But they'll come out stronger on the other side. Rikishi suggested that Jimmy's betrayal might not be as clear-cut as it seems, hinting that there could be deeper motivations behind his actions. You have to ask yourself, why would Jimmy turn on Jey after everything they've been through? There's a reason behind it, and when that reason is revealed, I think people will understand. Roman Reigns' dominance, still unshakable of course, any conversation about Jey Uso's loss wouldn't be complete without addressing the continued dominance of Roman Reigns. As the reigning undisputed Universal Champion, Reigns has held his title for over 1,000 days, cementing his place as one of the most dominant champions in WWE history. According to Rikishi, Roman's dominance is a testament to his ability as both a wrestler and a leader within the Samoan family. Roman's at the top for a reason, Rikishi stated. He's not just holding that belt because of politics or because he's the tribal chief. He's earned every second of that reign. He's the best in the world right now, and Jey knows that. Rikishi made it clear that Jey's loss doesn't diminish his potential. Instead, he sees it as a learning opportunity for his son to become even better. Roman's a measuring stick, Rikishi continued. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the best. Jey got close, closer than anyone else has in a long time. But he's not ready yet. When he is, I guarantee you, Roman will have his hands full. What's next for Jey Uso? When asked about what's next for Jey Uso, Rikishi remained tight-lipped about any specific plans, but hinted that the future might hold unexpected twists. Jey's got a long road ahead of him, but that's what makes his journey so special. He's going to rise above this, and when he does, it'll be something the WWE Universe will never forget, Rikishi said. He's still got a lot of fight in him. Don't count him out. As for whether Jey will ever challenge Roman Reigns again, Rikishi simply smiled and said, "There's always another chance. In this family, nothing is ever truly over. We're fighters. We keep going." The long game ultimately, Rikishi believes that Jey Uso's title loss at SummerSlam is just one chapter in a much larger story. As fans continue to debate the implications of Jimmy Uso's betrayal and the ongoing family drama within the bloodline, Rikishi urged patience. Fans are passionate, and I love that about them. But sometimes they need to trust the process, he said. The bloodline saga isn't over, and neither is Jey Uso's journey. He's destined for greatness. He's got the heart, the skill, and the drive. This loss was just a stepping stone. As Rikishi wrapped up the interview, he left WWE fans with one final thought: keep watching. Keep believing in Jey. His time is coming. And when it does, it'll be worth the wait. While Jey Uso's loss to Roman Reigns may have disappointed fans, Rikishi's exclusive comments offer a new perspective. According to the Hall of Famer, Jey's defeat was not a mistake but a crucial part of his growth. With the continued evolution of the bloodline story and Jey Uso's potential far from tapped out, the WWE Universe has every reason to stay tuned for what's next. As Rikishi said, this loss might just be the beginning of something even bigger for the former right-hand man. The bloodline's tale continues, and Jey Uso's future remains as bright as ever. Solo Sikoa to kick major WWE superstar out of his bloodline on Friday Night SmackDown? Potential Swerve explored Solo Sikoa and his bloodline are set to appear in the upcoming episode of WWE SmackDown. The new bloodline already cost Jey Uso the Intercontinental Championship, and the aftermath of that could unfold on this week's SmackDown. However, fans might witness an unexpected swerve when Solo Sikoa kicks Jacob Fatu out of the bloodline due to his actions on the recent episode of Raw. The Samoan werewolf has been a major factor in strengthening Solo's faction, and he also played a key role in Jey Uso losing his IC title after smashing him on the announcer's table. The reason Solo might decide to punish Jacob and kick him out of Bloodline 2.0 is that he seemingly went against the orders of the self-proclaimed tribal chief. When Jey confronted Solo at ringside during his match, Sikoa said he was there to help him. However, when the former right-hand man attacked Bloodline members, Sikoa grew frustrated and decided to confront Jey by jumping over the barricade. Shortly after, Solo was accidentally speared by Braun Breaker, and Jey followed up with a splash that hit both Breaker and Fatu, eventually leading to the Samoan werewolf attacking Jey Uso. Given this scenario, Solo Sikoa might claim that Jacob Fatu attacked Jey without his permission, and defying Sikoa's rules could lead to him being kicked out of the faction. While the chances of this happening are unlikely, even addressing this issue could create tension between Solo and Jacob on Friday Night SmackDown. Solo Sikoa might attempt to manipulate Jey Uso on the upcoming SmackDown. Jey Uso made an appearance on last week's SmackDown, and given what happened on Raw, it's highly likely he will appear on the Blue brand this week as well. However, Solo Sikoa might try to manipulate the YEET Master during his appearance by justifying the events that took place on Raw. The self-proclaimed tribal chief could attempt to shift the blame for Jey's loss onto Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso, arguing that they weren't there when Jey needed them. This manipulation could turn into an offer for the former right-hand man to join Bloodline 2.0, promising that they would always protect Jey whenever he needed help. While this manipulation may fail to recruit Jey into the new Bloodline, it could make an OG Bloodline reunion on SmackDown even more difficult. It remains to see how the narrative of the family drama will unfold next in the forthcoming episode of The Blue Brand. Did Paul Heyman retire from WWE? The truth revealed the Bloodline saga has reached a boiling point, and Roman Reigns has slowly started to rebuild his OG version in WWE. Jimmy Uso joined forces with him at Bad Blood 2024. Fans are excited to see Roman's faction back in action, and one of the most requested names to reunite with the OTC is Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was last seen on WWE television on June 28, 2024, episode of SmackDown. Solo's bloodline brutally attacked the Hall of Famer after he refused to acknowledge Sikoa as his new tribal chief. Since then, he has kept himself away from the Stamford-based company. Some fans are worried about Paul's future and wonder if the veteran has left. The answer is no. Paul Heyman is nowhere close to being done with WWE. Roman Reigns referenced him on last week's SmackDown, saying the Wiseman would have fixed the current situation. The former CEO of ECW talked about his comeback while speaking to Sam Roberts at Fanatics Fest NYC. He added he would return when needed and wants to make a meaningful return instead of an irrelevant one. It goes back to saying winning and losing matters, and by orders of the tribal chief, when I come back to television, if I come back when I do, that moment is going to set up a year's worth of storylines. I will come back when it's relevant for me to come back, when I'm needed to come back, when I can add to Roman Reigns and not just ride his coattails and hang off his glory, Paul Heyman said. Paul Heyman tells why Solo Sikoa's bloodline kicked him out of the WWE stable while speaking about the Bloodline saga in an interview with Sam Roberts at Fanatics Fest NYC. Paul Heyman opened up on why Solo Sikoa and their family booted him out and how that helped the Bloodline 2.0. The Hall of Famer expressed that at some point they had to do it, as it was part of their plan to rise, Solo, to be the new tribal chief, Tama Tonga's new right-hand man, and Jacob Fatu as the new enforcer. He was the only member of the faction who had ties with OG Bloodline that they had to get rid of. It remains to be seen when Paul Heyman's WWE comeback will take place and how his return will change the Bloodline saga. The wrestling world has been abuzz with rumors, speculation, and plenty of fan theories surrounding Paul Heyman's status in WWE. After years of being the voice behind some of the most iconic figures in wrestling, including Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, questions began to swirl about whether Heyman, the wise man of the bloodline, might be stepping away from the spotlight. His recent absence from a few major WWE events added fuel to the fire, leading fans and analysts alike to wonder, has Paul Heyman retired from WWE? The man behind the mic. Before delving into the present, it's important to remember who Paul Heyman is and what he represents in the world of professional wrestling. With a career spanning over 3 decades, Heyman is not just another manager or personality. He's a wrestling mastermind, known for his gift of gab, his strategic mind, and his ability to elevate talents to stardom. From ECW's rebellious beginnings to his pivotal roles in WWE, Heyman has always been at the forefront of wrestling's evolution. In recent years, Heyman's association with Roman Reigns has brought new life to his WWE career. As the special counsel to the tribal chief, Heyman played an instrumental role in shaping the most dominant storyline in WWE, the rise of the Bloodline. This arc not only rejuvenated Reigns' career, but also made Heyman an integral part of WWE's current landscape. The absences that sparked the rumors speculation about Heyman's retirement began in earnest after he was noticeably absent from a few significant WWE events, most notably during Roman Reigns' title defenses at some premium live events. Fans on social media were quick to point out that Heyman, who had been a constant presence by Reigns' side, was nowhere to be seen, prompting whispers of his possible exit from the company. Adding to the mystery was the lack of any official word from WWE or Heyman himself about these absences. In an industry where retirements are often made into grand spectacles, the silence was deafening. Could it be that Heyman was quietly stepping away, or was there more to the story? Behind the scenes, health concerns, or creative differences? As with any long-standing WWE personality, there are often more factors at play than what meets the eye. Insider reports suggested that Heyman might have been dealing with health issues, leading to his sporadic appearances. While these reports were never confirmed, they were enough to stoke the flames of retirement rumors. Heyman is, after all, in his late 50s, and the travel-heavy schedule of WWE can take its toll, even on the most dedicated individuals. Another theory that gained traction was that Heyman might have been at odds with WWE's creative direction. As a man with strong opinions on storytelling and character development, it wouldn't be the first time Heyman found himself at loggerheads with WWE's higher-ups. In the past, he had stepped down from roles due to creative disagreements, and some speculated that this might be another instance of Heyman choosing to distance himself from storylines he didn't believe in. However, these rumors were largely speculative, with no concrete evidence to suggest a major fallout between Heyman and WWE's management. The Bloodline's future without Heyman? The possibility of Heyman stepping away raised even bigger questions about the future of the Bloodline. Roman Reigns has been dominant, but Heyman's guidance and storytelling have been crucial to maintaining the momentum of the faction. If Heyman were to retire, what would that mean for Reigns? Could Solo Sikoa or Jimmy Uso take on a larger role, or would a new manager step in to fill Heyman's shoes? These were the questions that fans debated endlessly online. Some believed that Reigns, after years of working alongside Heyman, had learned enough to carry the Bloodline on his own. Others argued that Heyman's absence would leave a gaping hole in the faction's dynamic, one that couldn't easily be filled. The truth revealed, a shocking return just as the rumors reached a fever pitch. WWE did what it does best, defy expectations. At an October episode of SmackDown, Paul Heyman made a dramatic return to WWE television, walking out with his signature swagger, microphone in hand. The crowd erupted, and social media went into overdrive. Heyman, never one to shy away from the moment, addressed the rumors head-on. In classic fashion, he teased the audience, hinting that he had been enjoying his time away but couldn't resist returning to set things right. He didn't explicitly confirm or deny whether he had considered retirement, but he made it clear that, for now, his time in WWE wasn't over. "I've been hearing a lot of talk about my future," Heyman began, his voice dripping with the gravitas that only he can deliver. "Rumors of retirement? Please. When you've been part of this business as long as I have, you know one thing for certain: it's never over until you say it's over. And believe me, I'm not saying it's over." Heyman then pivoted to focus on Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, emphasizing that his role as the wise man was far from finished. The tribal chief still reigns supreme, and as long as Roman Reigns sits at the head of the table, I will be there, guiding him, advising him, ensuring that this empire stays intact. What's next for Paul Heyman? Heyman's return quashed the retirement rumors, but it also left fans wondering what the future holds for him in WWE. While it's clear that he isn't stepping away just yet, his sporadic appearances suggest that Heyman might be transitioning into a part-time role, much like Brock Lesnar before him. With the Bloodline storyline evolving and new stars emerging, Heyman's influence could take on a more behind-the-scenes role, allowing him to shape the next generation of talent without the rigorous travel schedule. For now, fans can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that Paul Heyman isn't retiring, at least not yet. His return to WWE television shows that he still has plenty to offer, both as a storyteller and as one of the sharpest minds in the business. In the unpredictable world of WWE, where storylines blur with reality, one thing is certain: Paul Heyman's legacy is far from over, and as long as he's around, the WWE Universe can expect more twists, turns, and jaw-dropping moments.